When you're talking about the God, prayers and all that, there are questions that were raised during tea time. What about the Dvaita, where God is separate, and there are so many matas that really cater that there is Visishtadvaita and Dvaita, they say they are separate. So this Advaitic teaching that all are one from the absolute point, and that is moksha. That is, in the Vedas, there are types of Vedavakyas and Abhedavakyas. Vedavakyas is that which differentiate Lord and you separate. And there are Abhedavakyas that which says both are one. Aham Brahmasmi is Abhedavakyam, which is you and Brahman are one and the same. I am that Brahman is a statement. Tattvamasi, all these Mahavakyas are four great statements, one from each Veda, that tries to unify you and the Lord as one. That's what Mahavakya means. Akhandartha Bodhaka Vakyam is Mahavakyam. That which teaches Akhandam, no division between two. Aham Brahmasmi is that. You are that. All the Tattvamasi we took. And this Ayamatma Brahma, that also we took, right? In the chapters. And all that comes from statements that there is no difference. Also there are statements in the Vedas what there are differences where you do prayers, all that is also there. Now which one is pramana? Both are pramana. So the Mata Acharyas take one, this is more important, and other Acharya says other one is more important. So one Acharya says that Dvaitam is separateness of that is more important. Lord is something completely different. He is not even a material cause. That's what Dvaitins say, quote unquote. Don't go and quote my statement. But that's what is not even a material cause. Because he is so pure, so this one, how can it become impure, all these? Remember my rotten neighbor also God? How can it be that possible? So there is no way the Lord can come. That is a Dvaita philosophy. In that Dvaita philosophy, each soul is finite, where you become full with your own, as you are, like each is a pot. You can think of a pot. You become full when you realize it, and your pot size is different from other people's pot size and so on. I am only giving the simple beg. Don't ask me the questions on Dvaita. I don't know much about Dvaita. So I am giving you just the essence so that you won't know the questions related to that are resolved in your mind. So for them there are all sorts of things which I don't want to get into that discussion, because Dvaitam is itself where the Brahman is not even a material cause. There is a Visishta Advaita where the Visishta Advaita in a Visishta way, Visishta means qualifications, Visishta, where they consider the total Virat Purusha of what 11th chapter you saw, the total Brahman as one, where Jivas are parts of the body of the Lord, and Jagat is also part of the Lord, but not the whole Lord. My finger is different, my hand is different, my every cell is different, but they are part of me, but cell is not me. Right? In the same way, Visishta Advaita takes the whole universe as a body of one God, that is Advaita. I am only a Viseshana for it, in the sense I am only a qualification for, I have this finger is good or that finger is good and so on. I am only a qualified small something in the whole body as one. So what is moksha is now different from each perspective. Moksha from the Dvaitin point is you become full with your part. You may see other parts which are bigger parts. Why they are bigger? Don't ask that question. They are bigger, that's it. So they are full with their bigger parts. They are full up to them. You are full with your part and be happy with it. That's what your token. There are other parts which are smaller than that. So look at them and be happy. Because there are also smaller parts which you can compare. Whereas the Visishta Advaita, you are part of the Lord only. You are not separate from the Lord. You are part of the Lord. Then what are you? What is moksha then is to serve the Lord in Vaikuntha. You're only anumatram. You're only a small, tiny guy. You are taken there. This way, sir. This way, sir. You are, once you have surrendered to the Lord, prapatti margam. It's called Sharanagati in the Vaishnava tradition. I can know more about Vaishnava than Dvaita, so you can ask me questions later about Vaishnavism. So, the surrenderance to that, where I surrender completely to the Lord, and in that surrenderance, I am surrendering and serving the Lord in the Vaikuntha. So, when I go, this body is not suitable there. This you have to leave it and go there, and you take a bath. There's a river there. You have to take a bath, and when you take and come out of the bath, you get another shariram, and that shariram, the Lord will take you, the Lakshmi will come first. Mother will come and dress you up properly, otherwise you're all dirty, right? Mother can tolerate all your dirt, so she can dress you properly, and says, father, introduce the father, our beta has come after a long time, here is our son. So that, all that is there in the Visishta Advaita. Through Lakshmi, you go to Narayana. Without Lakshmi, you cannot go there. That's why it's called Sri Vaishnava. Sri has to come. And what do you do there in Vaikuntha? Don't ask me that question. I can imagine the Lord is there, because just like in the movies, Lord is coming up from Kshetrasagara. So just like that, He will be there, and you will be seeing there. But you have to sit on the 10th row or 15th row or 30th row, because other people are there in front of you who are closer to Him on the first name basis. So, because they have Lakshmi, all those people are there, right? Hierarchy is there. There is a army officer there to make sure. Because when the police is there, everybody behaves properly. So there is an army officer also there. And all that is part of where you have to serve the Lord. That is your quota. So even in Vaikuntha, is service of the Lord is what the moksha is. You enjoy all the things of everything that Lord enjoys. Only thing you don't enjoy is the creative power. You don't create the universe. Lord only can create. This is a Visishta Advaitic moksha. And Advaita questions is, if I am going to be servant there, here already I am serving a lot of people here. Enough of these bosses there. And even if I go there and I have to serve there also, then where is my freedom? Instead of an iron chain, I will have a gold chain there, bonding me. So that type of moksha is not acceptable for Advaitins. Now, who is right, who is wrong? If you want me to asking me as a Visishta Advaitin or Advaitin, I am born as a Visishta Advaitin. I didn't give my history and all that because of the timeline. Born as a Visishta Advaitin. My father, in fact, teaches us Visishta Advaita a lot. And he thought that I have got spoiled. Gone case. Because I have become Advaitin according to. Because he's teaching one thing and I'm going here and teaching something else after that. In fact, the person who was organizing my father talks was organizing my talks also afterwards. Afterwards. But he was happy in a way. There is one, I don't know how many people Telugu here. Putrotsahamu tandriki putrudu janminchinapude puttadu janula putruni ganuguni pogadaga putrotsaham galgu kadara sumati. There is a sumati. That means the father doesn't get happiness when the child is born. Mother gets happiness immediately. She's so happy. But father gets happiness about the child only when other people talk about the greatness of the child. That's a sumati. It's a beautiful sloka is there. And my father was listening all this. At the same time, he doesn't like what I'm doing. But Visishta Advaita, I could not take it only because That doesn't appeal to me. I left, I read a lot of J. Krishnamurti books and all got thrown away, and then I got confused completely with the J. Krishnamurti. I threw those books also. I became an atheist until my wife, with all kindness, she dragged me to Swami Chinmayananda lectures, and that's how I became a Chinmaya Mission member. Anyway. So, Visishta Advaita involves basically a serving the Lord in the Vaikuntha also. Okay? There is a hierarchy in that. There is a Taratama Bheda. Taratama means comparative and superlative. Lakshmi is close to him, right? Massaging him. Whereas the other guys are still behind him. So if there is a fellow in front of you, very big, then you have to bend around and look around to see the Lord. All these flame problems. I'm just exaggerating, but that is moksha in terms of this one. So when you go to Vaikuntha and see the Lord so beautiful, everything looks so good until you turn your head on this side. Then you remember that neighbor? He is also there. He is also sitting next to you. Then you have a problem. This fellow made it. With all that, I know what all things he did, and he made it. I could also have done a lot more things, and still could have made it. Well, sitting in front of Lord Vishnu. Why? Because there is a comparison of one against the other. The samsara comes from relative. As long as there is something here, always a comparison. I compare the jealousy, all other feelings only because when you try to compare. That's why I said even experience, Advaita is not an experience because experience comes and goes. And lot of Mahatmas, they reach some state of nirvikalpam without thoughts, and next time they can't reach the same thing again and they are longing for it because experience can never be repeated. That's our experience also. When you go to a beautiful scene, first time you enjoy so beautifully, it's very good, it's so beautiful. I wish my wife also is here to enjoy this. And next time when you take your wife there, what happens? She's enjoying beautifully that scene, but you are not. Because what do? Oh, last time it was even better. Why? Because I have one experience that I experienced before, now I have another experience, now I am comparing these two, and that experience was better because my mind was free from all other problems. I could enjoy that experience. Now I have already one experience to compare with another. So Advaita is not experience, it is the knowledge of my true nature. So what our problem, the greatest problem of self-realization is, I want to experience some self-realization. That is our understanding. That understanding has to be dropped. Because when was the time when I am not experiencing myself? But only problem is, I am experiencing myself as this. So I have to drop all those notions that I am not this. Then I am pure, I am without any this. Even if this comes, I am not bothered because I am established in the knowledge that I am the substantive of even this also. And that is a knowledge. And here we are going to have another beautiful sloka, number 12.
Vidya katam bhati na cheda vidya.
Vidya katam bhati na cheda vidya.
Vidyam vina kim pravibhatya vidya.
Vidya vina kim pravibhatya vidya.
Dvayam chakasyeti vicharya mula.
Dvayam chakasyeti vicharya mula.
Swarupa स्वरूपनिष्ठा परमार्थविद्या
स्वरूपनिष्ठा परमार्थविद्या
विद्या
कथं
भाति न चेदविद्या विद्यां विना किं प्रविभात्य विद्या द्वयं च कस्येति विचार्य मूला स्वरूपनिष्ठा परमार्थविद्या.
Before we dismiss this vidya, there's a request that I had to inform. Although this camp is free registration, because Vedanta has to be registered free, has to be taught free, and some people came forward to support so that all the food and everything, arrangements and all that is taken care of by some people who volunteered to support. In previous camps, there was a registration fee. And this time they felt that let's keep it as a free, and some volunteered to support this program, today's program. But also, what is the responsibility of the student has to be understood. In the Taittiriya Upanishad, it tells where we are doing also. It says the brahmacharis, all that are free, Gurukulam means the student is free. At the same time, you should not receive free. Knowledge should not be received free because it becomes a tamasic. That's what Krishna tells in the 17th chapter. Adakshanam tamasikam. It says that without giving a dakshina properly, it becomes a tamasic knowledge. So any runam that you have, anything that you get free, you should not take it. Even though it is offered free. Whether it's a tape or it's something, it doesn't matter. Any book, at least you give equivalent of it somewhere to the donate some organization, something of equivalent so that your mind is free. Because that sattvika guna has to be done. That's why our Chinmaya mission pledge itself is that. What is the pledge it says? Giving more than what we take. The essence of whole Upanishad is put in that. So, as a responsibility of a student is, I had to give back something depending on, number one, how much I got it. If you have not got anything, then you have no obligation to give back, because you have not got anything. If you think you are benefited by having attended knowledge of it, you have gained, then depending upon what you got, you have to give back. And which is not a tangible one, because how much benefit you get depends upon a long way. You won't know sometimes even. The effects of attending this and that will come slowly as it germinates more and more in your mind. Therefore, depending on that, you have to give also. The second aspect is depending upon what you have, you have to give. If you have only $1, then you give 50%. If you have $1,000, then give you 50%. If you have $1 million, just same 50%. It depends. So the amount that you give depends upon your value and your what you are in, all that. The reason I am saying is this is a part of our Hindu dharma. One should not take anything free, although even at that time, in those days, at the Gurukula stage, where the knowledge was given free only. But at the same time, the teacher himself instructs, you have to give that which is pleasing, not to the student, pleasing to the teacher. That which pleases. So the concept here is, if you are not attending tomorrow, if you think you have gained something, if you want, we have treasurer outside sitting to make sure that you don't pass through him. Give in whatever envelope. If you don't have it, at least put IOU and he will be after you. Otherwise, tomorrow also bring patram, pushpam, palam, toyam, yome bhaktya prayachasi. Whatever you offer, even a patram, And Swami Chinmayananda translates patra means checkbook. Whatever you offer, you are not giving to me. It is I have nothing to do here. I am only his representative. Whatever I learned from my teachers. Just like attending camps like you, I also attended. I am also a Gruhastha. I have not gone to Brahmachari course or anywhere. I have also learned by attending these type of camps only, which is arranged by Chinmaya Mission. Mission cannot do unless mission is not something, it is supported and trying to propagate this philosophy. Otherwise, there are people who are trying to destroy our religion also. Unless we learn and pass it on, that becomes our responsibility as Hindus. So whatever you give goes back completely to the mission to support where they're trying to buy a place in Virginia so that even here as well as there we have places where this type of camps can be conducted, where a lot more people can get benefit out of this. So if you have where you can support it, we'll be thankful to you. So those who cannot make tomorrow and can come, leave the envelopes they can give, and they will be put into whatever that contribution. There is also in return we have a Yajna Prasad, where the introductory talks that I gave on the Taittiriya Upanishad are recorded, where it's a general recording of the general things, not the Upanishad per se, but background information of whatever I gave here also as an introduction is there for you to remember, so that you can understand the basis of the philosophy too. And that is being provided for those. One for the one family, because there are too many resistance. Though one for the family record, you can take it for those who give something. Okay, that's remember. I just now told you should not take anything free. That's part of our culture. Here, just as I gave you example that when I am in the sun, there is no darkness anywhere. Darkness and the light are opposite to each other. One eliminates the other. So ignorance, chemistry ignorance or whatever ignorance of, can only be eliminated by the knowledge of that which is opposite to it, just like the darkness and the light. And can I say there is a darkness without a light? I cannot say there is darkness unless there is something light to opposite to, then say, yes, this is darkness. When I turn the switch on, the light comes. And when the light goes away, darkness comes. So they are mutually opposing each other, but each is there because of the other. Follow? So ignorance and knowledge are opposite to each other. At the same time, knowledge can be there only because there is an ignorance. In fact, according to our pramanas, knowledge is all the time there. Ignorance is covering the knowledge. And by means of pramana, the ignorance goes away, revealing the knowledge. That's actually what this process is. Because knowledge is eternal. But here, they're talking about knowledge of, because knowledge by itself cannot be defined, just as ignorance by itself cannot be defined. You say ignorance of what? We ask the question. In the same way, knowledge of what? So any epistemological, if you go, any book on knowledge, if you ask question, they only talk about knowledge of this only. Knowledge of anything. What is knowledge? Cannot be defined. And that is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Because that's why it's not defined. But other things is knowledge of. So knowledge of chemistry can be removed by, or the ignorance of the chemistry is removed by the knowledge of the chemistry. So here, Bhagavan says, Vidya katam bhati nachet avidya. Without the presence of avidya, means the ignorance, where can you talk about, what can you talk about vidya? Because these are mutually there. As long as the ignorance is there, yes, we need to learn and remove that ignorance by knowledge of that. Any knowledge. Knowledge of. And knowledge is also there. In fact, vidyam vina kim pravibhatsa vidya. Says there cannot be ignorance of something unless there is an opposite of knowledge, or there cannot be knowledge of this thing unless there is an ignorance. These are essentially mutually opposite to each other. One is there because of the other is there. In Brahman, there is no knowledge. He is knowledge itself. There is no knowledge of anything. Okay, Brahman, there is no jnani or ajnani in Brahman. That's called paramarthika drishti. From paramarthika point, there is no samsara, there is no creation also. From the gold point, there is no ring, there is no bangle, there is no necklace. I am gold, period. In the same way, from Brahman point, there is no creation. Only when I seeing creation, I am asking where is the creation? How did it come from? Because I am seeing it. Because you are seeing it, Vedanta comes in with an explanation for those who are seeing it. Right? For those who have realized I am Brahman, they neither vidya nor avidya. Follow? Ajnana kalusham jivam jnanabhyasad vinirmalam krutva jnanam swayam nasyi jalam kadakarenuvat. Now where it comes? Atma Bodha. That is Shankaracharya. He says, Ajnana kalusham jivam jnanabhyasad vinirmalam krutva jnanam swayam nasyet. Even the ajnana removes the ajnana, and in the process jnana also goes away. How? Katakarenuvat. He says Katakarenu is they used to powder Katakarenu to purify the water. So they used to spread that on the top of the puja or whatever, the vessel of the drinking water vessel. When they put water, it starts sinking down, absorbing water because of the surface tension. When it starts absorbing water, it starts absorbing along with it. It starts sinking heavy and takes with it all the dirt also. And in the end, you will not have powder, not the dirt. In the same way, that this jnanam that we are talking about, Vedanta jnanam also, is important to remove the ignorance of the divisionlessness. Right? That's how we started. But once I recognize the divisionlessness, there is no more divisions of Vijna or Vidya and Avidya there. That knowledge of understanding the divisionlessness that I am Brahman also eliminates this. Vedanta also becomes only an aparavidya. That's what Mundaka Upanishad talks about. That also drops out. Avijñāte pare tattve shastrād istu nishpala. Vijñāte pi pare tattve shastrād istu nishpala. Where this is? Vivek, my God, we are all experts here. Very funny sloka Shankaracharya says in the Vivek Chudamani, Avijñāte pare tattve. If I don't know what is the nature of the reality, then Shastras are useless. That's the first statement. Avijñāte pare tattve shastrādesu nishpala. Vijñāte pare tattve shastrādesu nishpala. Even if I know that what is the truth, then Shastras is useless. So Shastras are useless both ways. So why study Shastras? That means Shastra knowledge is useless unless I learn from the Shastra what is the nature of the reality. By reading Shastras alone without understanding the reality, it is useless only. Oh, I also finished this book, I finished that book, I finished all the Vedas, I have now studying Brahma Sutras, that will also be over. Then what else I had to do? What else you have to do? Study again. Because you have not understood what it says. Therefore, when that knowledge occurs, then the study of this is no more useful for you, but still. Svadhyayanam pravachanicha. Upanishad, you still have to study the scriptures. Every time you allot some time for every day. Someone asked me, when did you find time to learn all this? Because I do devote a lot of time in studying scriptures, really. That's one good thing is, first, you get out of all other family problems. You are studying. You are above all this. That's why my floor right now is 4th floor, where all other floors are above. 4th floor is Chaturtham Manyante, you remember? Really, I'm not talking about it. I have to climb up. I don't have to come down very easily because it's, knees will pain, so I don't have to come down so often, so I can sit there. No, study of the scriptures become important until you realize, because that's important to learn. Study of the scriptures important after you realize also, because you have to support the scriptures now. Until then, scriptures will support you. Now you have to support the scriptures by teaching others. That becomes Acharya Runam. As a part of the Runam, there is a Deva Yajna, the Manushya Yajna, there is a Rishi Yajna. Rishi Yajna means, I come from, everybody says, I come from this Gotra and that Gotra. Who are that Gotras? They are Rishis, all Veda Drashtas. They are the seers of the truth. And I belong to that. I claim that I come from that family. What has he done? I don't know. What have you done to glorify that Mahatma? You are telling that in every temple that I say, because unless you tell your proper Gotra, you won't get goodies, right? You have to tell when you go to temples, what do you ask? They ask you what Gotra, what Nakshatram, and your name. Those are the 3 things Lord wants to find out. This fellow is doing puja for this reason, not for my sake, but he wants something else. So the goodies are sent properly. So I am doing all the time so many pujas, doing all that puja, and remember the neighbor, he's not doing any of those, but he's getting all the goodies and I am not getting any goodies. This doesn't look like fair, right? I'll tell you one secret. Secret is, Lord is not going to give you anything that you don't deserve. You may break 100 coconuts. You may do all sorts of things. It won't matter. He won't give you anything more than what you deserve. What you deserve depending upon your karma. So if you want better things, do proper karma. I want to learn chemistry. If I go to temple every day and break 10 coconuts every day, nothing will come. No chemistry, Saraswati will come. I will have a lot of coconuts only. I had to do proper prayer. Proper prayer means not prayer of coconuts. Proper prayer is invoking Saraswati in the form of chemistry. That is the proper prayer. That means I had to study. Then only Saraswati will come. Vedanta is also same thing. I had to study Vedanta through proper means so that I can understand, then only it will come. And therefore, I don't know why Vidya. So, Vidya and the darkness are both together, but in the realization, there is no Vidya or not ignorance also. Dvayam sakasyed, vicharya moolam. You have to inquire what is the substantive. Moolam is adhishtanam, that which is basis for both of knower and known. I am neither a knower, not known. This is in the Kenopanishad comes in fact. Viditam va, aviditam va. Because whatever I know. Follow me closely. Whatever I know. Whatever I don't know, I know. Right? Yes or no? Do you know Gaga Boo Boo? Now I know. Say we all know. No. So I don't know what it is. I don't know that I don't know Gaga Boo Boo, right? But I know that I don't know. So whatever I don't know also I know. Whatever I know also I know. Right? But I am neither knower of ignorance nor knowledge. I am that which is the knowing principle, because of which I know what I know and I know what I don't know. I am the very knowing principle, because of which I know all these things and I don't know all these things. Also, I can list what all things I know. This may be a bigger list than this one, but still I know. And that is Moolam, that is the Adhishtanam of which all knowledge is taking place, because of which. How does the knowledge take place? When the consciousness reflects on the vritti. Vrittis are thoughts coming and going. Chemistry thoughts, physics thoughts, Vedanta thoughts, all thoughts come and go. I am the consciousness that reflecting all the thoughts that are raising in the mind. I am conscious of, that means I have knowledge of all those things. I am not all those things. I am only the light that reflects. And therefore, that my nature is the true knowing principle. That means consciousness itself. Knowledge is what I am conscious of. And what is pure knowledge? The consciousness itself. That is the Moolam. That is the Adhishtanam from which all things rise to. So here, Dvayam Chakasyi Vicharya Moolam. Swarupanishta Paramartha Vidya. That is the real knowledge. What is the knowledge? Establishing in that Swarupam, my own nature. What is my own nature? I am Satchit Ananda Swarupam. That is the ultimate knowledge. If you know that, you know everything else. Because in the Upanishad also, in the Chandogya Upanishad, it says, Eka Vijnanena Sarva Vijnanam Bhavati. Knowing one thing, I will know everything. Do you know that knowledge? That's what the teacher asks. In the other Upanishad that Swamiji tipped, Mundaka Upanishad, Kasminno Bhagavo Vijnate Sarvamidam Vijnatam Bhavati. Oh Lord, please teach me, knowing which I'll know everything. Because if I don't want to know chemistry, I'm getting lost. I'm becoming a super specialist of knowing everything about nothing. But how can I know this and that? Now teach me what a tallest order here is, request is, teach me that, knowing which I know everything. What kind of knowledge is that, which is the basis for all the knowledge itself? And that alone is real knowledge, because all other knowledge is only, increasing the ignorance. So, knowing gold, I know all ornaments in principle, golden ornaments, because it is the same gold in varieties of forms only. Once I know that is AU, properties of AU, all other properties are superimpositions on top of gold. I may not know the ring properties, what is its diameter, what is inside diameter, OD, ID, all those things I may not know, but I know it is gold, period. I know the essential knowledge of what it is. It may be thousands of varieties of gold ornaments, but I know once it is gold, I know the essence of everything there. I don't need to know the superficial details. Superficial details, this akaram, that akaram, this shape, that shape, all those things can be different from one ring to other ring, one gold bangle to other bangle. All those details have no meaning to me, because I know the essence of it. In the same way, that because of which all gold ornaments came from, by which it is sustained, into which goes back, if I know that adharam, that substantive, that which is the basis for everything, then I know all those products that came from that. Right? I may not know iron products. If I know all the gold products, I know. But if I know that because of which iron products, gold products, all products in the whole universe came from, then I know the very moolam, the substantive of the whole creation itself. If I know that, then all are just only the modifications of that. So that vidya, moolam, is swarupam, that is my swarupa lakshanam. I gave you swarupa lakshanam is brahmana nishtha, and establishing in that is paramartha vidya, that is the most supreme knowledge of all. And that knowledge is not opposite to anything. Don't say then that there is an ignorance of that. No, there is no ignorance in paramartha. Ignorance also says, who is ignorant? These are questions that come in the philosophies. You say Brahman, you are a Brahman, then how can you become ignorant? Can Brahman become ignorant? No, Brahman never becomes ignorant. Brahman is Brahman. But I am ignorant, and you are ignorant, since you are asking those questions. Then who is ignorant? The fellow who thinks I am this obviously is ignorant, because he doesn't know Brahman. If he knows I am Brahman, he won't ask that question, right? So, who has the ignorance? Ignorance is not in the Brahman, but then who thinks that I am a jiva, he has the ignorance. So, who realizes? It is the one who thinks I am a jiva has to realize that I am not a jiva. Hello? And that is what is self-realization. That is swarupam, that is my real nature, and everything else is not real. It's only superimposition. Let's go to the next one.
Bodharamatmanamajanato yo bodhassa kim syat paramartha bodha bodhasya bodhyasya cha samshayam syam bodhyasya cha samshayam swam vijanatastad dvitayam vinashyet vijanatastad dvijat bodharamatmanamajanato yo bodhassa kim syat paramartha bodha bodhasya bodhyasya cha samshayam swam vijanatastad dvitayam vinashyet.
So here Bhagavan says, the one who does not know himself, says this is Atmanam Ajanataha Purushaha, the one who does not know himself and trying to know everything else, that knowledge is useless knowledge. So all our whole education system is, if you look at it, we are trying to learn this. There are no courses to learn who is that asking who is this. So all knowledge is about other than myself, and without knowing myself, I am making a contact and try to know other things in this world. So all those PhDs, everything, science and everything is trying to learn about the objects in the world. I want a fundamental material that comes from this. What is the cause? All that investigations. Who is investigating? A Chaitanyam, one who is a conscious entity investigating. Without understanding who is the investigator itself, the validity of the investigator. And therefore, all that knowledge is useless essentially. So, without knowing oneself who I am properly, here Bhagavan says, and therefore any other knowledge, and I know this, has no meaning of it. It may be useful in transactions. It's not that it's not useful. It's useful only in its relative plane. But from the absolute point, it has no meaning also. So, bodhyasya cha samsrayam swam vijanata tasad vidayam vinasid. So, when I realize that what is I, the subject, and this is known, I am a knower and this is known, the duality is there. Without knowing, without not knowing the underlying, the consciousness that I am, because of which this knower and known, the subject-object duality is dancing around all the time and worried about all this. First, turn your attention to find who is this I, that in which there is a subject and object, because both are in your mind. Because when I say this is a plate, in the perceptual process, when I look at this and understand that this is a plate, that coming from through the perceptual process, and the vritti comes and raises and says the attributes of that is formed in the vritti, the thought, and consciousness is reflecting on that and say this is a plate. That is one aspect. The second aspect is also raises spontaneously that I know this is a plate. Follow two things now? It's called idam vritti and aham vritti. Means this is a plate and I know this is a plate, or automatically comes. It says, do you know this is a plate? Yes, I know it. Because what? I can see. So I can see it is a plate is one thing, but I know that this is a plate is also. That's why I said, I know all things that I know. Right? Therefore, even that thought that automatically, spontaneously raises, that's called cognitive process. I mean, the technical word is a cognition. When I cognize an object there is also another thought that raises that I know that this is an object. So knowledge of the cognition also occurs in the mind. I don't know if I confuse you enough. When I say this is an object, when I grasp the object through the senses and there is a thought, this is a part. That is because I can perceive it, and the thought rises, and reflection of that is the knowledge of the part. But also the ownership of the knowledge of the part also simultaneously raises that I am the knower of that this is a part. That means I know that this is a part. How do you know? Because I know. So I know that this is a part, also another thought raising in my mind, and that also is part of that. So any knowledge involves two aspects, and both are vrittis. Vritti means thought process. One is thought of this is an object, this is a chair, this is a table, this is this part. All that thoughts in the mind, thoughts keep changing as idam keeps changing. Idam is this. As this changes, the thoughts associated with idams is changing. But there is a background in each thought. This is a part, I know this is a part. This is a chair, I know this is a chair. So I know the knowledge of each thought that rises is also behind me, which stores this information into my memory, ultimately. Right? I have part knowledge, I have thought knowledge, I have chair knowledge, all that in my memory also stores. So that's called aham vritti. Aham vritti doesn't change, idam vritti keeps changing. Follow? Aham vritti is, I know this, I know this, I know this, now I know that, all that, now I know what Saddarsanam is also. That's also another knowledge. So that kind of knowledge is there. Now what is Brahma Vidya now? And I'm giving you the essence now. Basically, this is to be understood clearly. Brahma Vidya is also another thought that raises in the mind where there is no object per se. You cannot say this is Brahman, right? There is no object per se, but there is a knowledge of I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. Where in the mind that raises as a thought is called akhandakara vritti. The Sanskrit word is akhanda. Akhanda means without broken. It is I am, I am, I am. And Bhagavan says, Swayam Spuroti, it spontaneously rises once you identify I am with not anything else associated with it. Now here you have to be careful. So what exactly is self-realization? What exactly I am looking for is this. If you understand it, then you are understood. It's not something going to come to you anywhere, not of that time, because it's everywhere, right? It's not going to be in any experience also. Then what exactly is Brahma Vidya? Without the mind, you cannot have Brahma Vidya. Mana eva manushyanam karanam bandhamokshayoho. So the mind is responsible for both bondage as well as liberation also. But mind is inert. Mind doesn't have to realize. Remember, Atma doesn't have to realize. Then what is this mechanism here? Is to be understood. So I am is consciousness. Okay, please follow me. Once you follow this, all other confusion goes away clearly. I am is consciousness which is all pervading. Don't say, when I died, I go here and that left here and all that. That's only in terms of the subtle bodies. You don't die. You are absolute. You all are pervading Satsvarupam, Chitsvarupam without any differentiation, any duality. That's your nature, right? So when consciousness is all pervading, then we say, I am this. When I am saying, what exactly is happening then? Who is saying I am this? Now, here is the mechanism. Consciousness reflected in the mind is the knowledge of I am also. So, any reflection, I already told you, any reflection of the consciousness is knowledge, right? Reflection of the vritti thought is the knowledge of the thought. So, just as there are two reflections now, one is as though there is a pool of mind that is reflecting consciousness as a general samanyam. And there are special Visheshana where whenever the Visheshana is qualities, attributes, thoughts that come associated with attributes is always objects, that raises in the mind. So one consciousness as though splitting into two types. One is a general reflection on the pool of the mind, and the other one comes whenever the thoughts raise. Follow now? So, whenever idam vritti means this thought, whenever the thought raises, I am conscious of it. When there is no thoughts, I am conscious of the general reflection of the mind, which is also a thought type, akhandakara. So, I cannot see consciousness. I want to see consciousness. I want to realize. What is that realization? Consciousness is all pervading. There is nothing to realize. But I, the mind, turning outwards and looking at the world as this, has to turn inwards to look at itself, what is the general reflection that is coming in, not the specific reflections that is centered on idam, but a general reflection that is all the time there in spite of idams. That reflected light, and recognizing that reflected light, and reflected light of consciousness is knowledge, establishing in that as I am that one that reflected, but from the reflection I can go back and say I am in fact the total light that is getting reflected in the mind. Just as when I am looking outside, there is a sunlight everywhere, sun is somewhere else, but I say sun is there because I can see the sun. I am not able to see the sun, I am only seeing the reflections from everywhere and looking at the reflections and say the reflections are coming from something else that is all over as brilliant. That light is only reflecting, I am only recognizing, have a knowledge of the reflection of this light that is coming from the mind. Follow? So realization is shifting my attention, that which is there all the time on the mind as a general pool, without any specific thoughts. Specific thoughts come and go. They get folded when I go to deep sleep state, but I am is there also. And that reflected light is the realization of that. Because reflected light is knowledge. When I turn my mind to that as I am a ever conscious witnessing principle that I am. Witnessing principle what? Conscious entity. That which does not partake into these particular vyavaharas, yet standing apart, looking at all the vyavaharas that are going on behind the mind, and establishing myself with that knowledge that I am this. Right now I am taking this changing things as I am that. Body is me, body is changing. Mind is me, mind is changing. Intellect is me, intellect is changing. But I am none of the changing things. I am that which is reflecting all the time, everything that is there. I am the witnessing, consciousness is reflected there. It's called, technically called Upahita Chaitanyam. The word in the Vedanta is called Upahita Chaitanyam, means I am the Chaitanyam itself, but enclosed in this body as though. Just as when I say pot has a space. Pot space is limited by the walls of the pot, but space is not limited. The pot space right now thinking I am only a small pot and that is a bigger pot and a better pot and I am all this pot, my space is limited. All that the space in the pot may be thinking that I am only a limited space. And Vedanta says you are not limited, you are infinite space itself. There is potless. Spaces can never be divided, even though you have the upadhi. Within the upadhi means the pot walls. You think that that is what it is, but realization is recognition that I am the total space which is indivisible, even though I am existing in the pot. Follow? That recognition that I am the total in spite of the walls is self-realization. Even though I am still a pot space, I can still useful for the pot. Because pot space is useful to carry a lot of things there, right? But yet, I am not the pot space. I am space, indivisible, because of which even the pot walls also are there. So realization is recognition of the general reflection in the mind itself, by the mind to see, by the mind only. I cannot realize in the deep sleep state. When the mind itself is folded, even though Sakshi is there. I need a knowledge, a vritti, a thought that I am. That Swaram Suroti, it spontaneously raises once I recognize and shift my attention to that and firm abidance in that. Even though the knowledge is now taking place, I am not able to keep that knowledge long. As soon as the class is over, it goes back because I am again getting carried away with the things that are changing as a vritti jnanam. Then how do I establish this? Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam are the only methodology that is prescribed by the Vedanta. So here says that which is the substantive of both the known and the knower and all that cannot be possible unless I know myself, and that self that I know is without any divisions, and the subject-object divisions itself get dissolved into that. I am the very substantive for both all of them too. And that is the glory of the self-knowledge that was talked about.
Nidra na vidya, grahanam na vidya.
Vidya na vidya.
vidya gृह्णाति किञ्चिन्न यथार्थबोधे गृह्णाति किञ्चिन्न
यथार्थबोधे
निद्रा पदार्थग्रहणेतरा स्यात्
निद्रा
पदार्थे
ग्रहणेतरा स्यात्
चिदेव विद्या विलसन्त्यशून्या
विद्या
निद्रा न विद्या ग्रहणं न विद्या गृह्णाति किञ्चिन्न यथार्थबोधे निद्रा पदार्थग्रहणेतरा स्यात् चिदेव विद्या विलसन्त्यशून्या.
Another beautiful sloka by Bhagavan. He says, what is this knowledge? He says, Nidra na vidya, grahanam na vidya. Nidra means, Nidra is the sleep. Sleep where there are no thoughts of anything. So, this knowledge is not of the type where there is no thoughts. So he says, I want to go to the Nirvikalpa Samadhi. He says, that's not knowledge. You may go to absence of thoughts as a samadhi. That's not what you're looking for. Because even once you come out of the samadhi, again this whole world again comes back to you as it is, as you left it. So there is no knowledge there. What is knowledge? It is not of the type of nidra, means absence of thoughts. So don't take anything that says, hey, you go to a state of where there is no thoughts. That's not meditation. You may be free from all the thoughts and free from all your problems temporarily. That you can do only by sleeping, you can do that. And some people take drugs and all those things to get to that state. So that is not knowledge. Vidya, nidra, na vidya. Then what is knowledge? Then I had to grasp something. Grasp means grasping something, knowing something. Is that vidya? No, Brahma Vidya is not trying to gain some knowledge. It is not thoughts, it's not the presence of thoughts. Because any thought is through the knowledge, comes through the thoughts. So he's ruling out both. It is not of the type where there are no thoughts. That's not Brahma Vidya. It is not of the type where there are thoughts. It's also not Vidya. Grahanati kinchinna yathartha bodhe nidra padartha grahanetara syat sade chideva vidya vilasanti asunya. Then what is that knowledge? What is Brahma Vidya? It is neither of the thoughts nor of lack of thoughts. It's because of which you are able to think the thoughts. So it is that because of which thoughts you are able to think. All physiological functions are operating because of that. Everything is happening, but it's not any one of those also. So that's why I am there in the waking state, I am there in the dream state, I am there in the deep sleep state, but I am none of those states also. No absence of thoughts is not there. It's not something of objectifiable. It's not of that. It is not lack of objects also. It is not that. Oh, is it some concept? It is not any concept. It's not lack of concepts also. It's none of this kind of things, because it is that because of which all concepts are there. I am able to have those concepts because of which I can see. I am the very life principle itself too. But I am not life. I am because of which the body is enlivening in my very presence itself. I am neither doer anything, I don't do anything, but in my very presence itself, you can see how great that is, because in its very presence itself, the matter is becoming so dynamic. The body is able to function, but I don't know what that is. We say with science, we don't know what life is. Yet, it is functioning so beautifully, so accurately. Even when I am asleep, things are going on. All physiological functions are going on. Thank God it's going on. Right? But what is that? That because of which it is able to do itself, not doing anything. In its very presence itself is dynamic. The light of that consciousness itself getting reflected in the mind, in the intellect, depending upon the purity of the reflecting medium. Light is the same. If the mirror is impure, dirty, nothing may come out, even though that mirror is also reflecting. So what should I do? If I wipe out all the dust out, the mirror automatically reflects all the light there. That is what is called Chitta Suddhi. Purification of the mind, of the intellect is a process. Realization is not a process. Brahma Vidya is not something to do or something not to do. It's nothing of any of this type. But you need a purification process, not for realization, but for purification so that you can see as you are. When Vedanta says you are this, then you can recognize this. Otherwise, the mirror is getting distorted. You remember, you have concave mirrors, convex mirrors, all sorts of mirrors, distorting your image. In the same way, it has become a crooked. When the mind is crooked and all that, it's not, you have to straighten out. That's what is Arjavam, means straightforward, where things reflect beautifully all the way. That is a realization. Therefore, here is a realization. Neither it is absence of thoughts or it is a presence of the thoughts. Neither it is presence of objects nor it is absence of objects. Neither it is this nor it is this. You can dismiss any of these dvandvas, all triputis, everything is out because it is there in spite of that also. So it is not I am not this, I am this, I don't have to reject, I am this also. But I don't carry with that only. I have to see the substantive of this and that also has to be recognized. And that is called the Chit Eva, the consciousness that is reflecting everywhere by itself, not doing anything. Don't say, why are you reflecting? Say, that's my nature. I'm not doing anything. It is just there because that is Jyoti. It is light of consciousness. It cannot but give out the light. It is your problem to pick up properly or not to pick up properly. Instrument is a problem, not the consciousness. Consciousness is ever pure, eternally, ever existing, self-shining. I don't need to do anything, but what I have to do is clean up my mind so that it can reflect. From the reflection, recognize that there is a light getting reflected. Just as from the reflections, recognize there is a sun there. Okay, that's what is self-realization. Chideva Vidya, Vilasante, it shines. Asunya. Asunya means it is not empty. Don't think when I say it's not objects, it's none of these. It says, oh, it is empty. No, it is not absence of anything or everything. It is also presence of things. Also, it is there. It is something beyond that where words cannot reach there. You cannot describe because the words themselves fail. So even the mind and the words come back. Remember? Yado vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. And that knowledge is what? That is self-shining, self-effulgent. I cannot directly see it anyway because the mind has to see. Brahman doesn't need to realize. It is the mind that has a wrong notions has to realize properly by turning inwards and looking at its own reflection that's coming and then deducing that coming from the consciousness that I am, shifting my attention. And that is the self-realization.